welcome back, everyone, to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Lead Swap. What if? You've been asking for it, folks. You've demanded it, and I bring it to you. So Yugi won the poll the first time around, and it was kind of logical you guys were going to put him in GX to start with. Eventually, Yugi's going to go through all of the series, but GX is the most sound one to start him with because that actually still existed within his era in terms of how the duels effectively function. Oh, crap. Sorry. If you heard some bang, that was my fan falling. Because it's warm and I have a fan in my room. But I don't know if you can hear that in the background noise. But that's my fan. I digress. The biggest reason GX makes the most sense is Yugi had a deck in GX. There's an entire episode where his deck got stolen. Jaden duels Yugi at the very end. So there is a GX era deck for Yugi, more or less. And that's more or less where I pulled a lot of the cards from. Now, unlike the last episode, where I had multiple cards, unlike the last series with Jaden, where I had multiple cards, I couldn't do both. Obviously, I'm not very good at editing, so I can't just have a lot of just scenes from the anime up. I'm not going to be able to do that style for this particular video. One, I want to try something different to make it a little bit more streamlined, because keeping track of all the cards I was throwing out on that screen got very difficult. But B, there's too many duels in GX for me to do that with. Because per series, I think Jaden or Yusei tie for the lead that has the most duels in the entire series. Because literally, Jaden duels not every episode, but a lot of episodes. Beyond that, though, and also Jaden had 4 whole seasons to be dueling. We only had Battle City, Waking the Dragons, and Dawn of the Duel really to go off of. There was also the Grand Prix tournament or whatever it was, but that's filler beyond filler. And I like that arc too, because I do like just the standard tournament, but Waking the Dragons is probably the best filler arc Yu-Gi-Oh! Did. Regardless, so with 4 seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, I have to streamline this somewhat. So in terms of the duels, I'm really only going to be focusing on the duels that are going to be actually relevant to the plot in some capacity. For example, the starting duel would be Yugi versus Crowler. That is relevant to the plot because him getting into Duel Academy is very important. But I'll more or less be going over what the actual duel is like, and I will try to keep it as simplistic as possible. I will not try to deviate, and there will still be imagery up front for some of the cards that are going to be playing, but regardless, that's what we're doing. So we have to establish a couple things first. First off, Yugi is obviously replacing Jaden in this version. Jaden's not in Duel Academy, Jaden is. Yugi would still have all the things that made him Yugi, including the Millennium Puzzle. Yami is with him as well. So, does he run into, say, Yugi? Does he run into Jaden instead of Jaden running into Yugi before heading to his exam? I would think that, technically speaking, Yugi is probably a lot more punctual than Jaden is, and while we don't know what his grades actually are like, we know he's a pretty good student. We know he's intelligent. I don't know if he's the very top of his class. Again, manga, I don't know if it's ever confirmed. Anime, they really never talk about it. But he's extremely intelligent, so I imagine he is far more promptly on time than, say, Jaden is. But I think that maybe an issue came up where he just couldn't sign up in time. He still got there, but he forgot to register, or he registered almost like on the cusp, and the Crowler's just pissed off. Like he was just running late. And so Crowler basically decides, all right, I'm going to show this little upstart what's for. And so Yugi, Crowler and Yugi, that's going to be something I'm going to have to get used to, saying Yugi over Jaden. Jaden, I did it again. Yugi and Crowler duel. It's like, all right, it's time to duel. And Yami taking over. It's actually proven or said that Yami is there to help him out. Atem is there to help him out. But even when he turns into Atem, it's actually, what people actually see isn't Atem. They just see a more confident Yugi fighting. It's like, that's a very interesting piece of building you have, young man. It's like, it's my Millennium Puzzle, a puzzle. It's an ancient Egyptian heirloom. It's like, well, either way, I'm not gonna be bothering one for fashion. So make your move, and Yugi would draw. Now, I'm going to spare you what's in Yugi's hand. Only to say that he summoned, because it's ultimately not going to matter too much here. Because he's going to summon Gamma the Magnet Warrior in defense mode. He's going to set one card in his turn. Crawler would still do the play of Confiscation and Heavy Storm, and then summon his Ancient Gear Golem! And basically just obliterates the Ancient Gear Golem. Yugi draws. I say he gets pot of greed. He draws 2 cards. He summons Alpha the Magnet Warrior in defense mode, sets 1 card, and ends his turn. Now, Crawler again comes in, does another 1,300 damage to his life points. He's down to 15. He draws. I summon Beta, the Magnet Warrior. Oh my, what exactly would be the point of all this? You really think you could... Then I activate the card Premature Burial. It's like, premature what? It's like, what? Oh, you're not... To bring back Gamma the Magnet Warrior. Then I play Monster Reborn. Wait a minute. To summon Gamma or Alpha the Magnet Warrior. I combine them together to create Valkyria the Magnet. I guess I'm going between Yugi and Temia. Valkyria the Magnet Warrior. What? No, he's stronger than my Gear Golem. Attack that Gear Golem. Slice the Gear Golem. No, he was my very best card. And that's not all. It's not all, Crawler. I activate. I can't remember. Because Valkyria does have an ability that lets you split and create the components. Bring the 3 Gammas back, but I don't believe that's an in-battle ability. I don't believe. That being said, I believe there is a spell card or a trap card that does that automatically. So or Magnet Release or something like that. Let me know in the comments what that card was, or if that's how Valkyria's works. Because the anime worked a little differently than the real-world rules, although GX definitely... Actually, as they went on, the rules got a lot more in sync with each other. Point being, he could activate the card Magnet Release. This splits my Gamma or my Valkyria back into the 3 monsters that made it up, each with its own attack. Crawler, no attack, wipe out his life points. I lost. No, it can't be. All right, Yugi. Well, and Lex is impressed. Zane's saying, he's pretty strong. We'll see, but we'll see if he can cut it. And it's like, awesome! And Yugi, I think Yugi and Cyrus would be really good friends. They're both kind of on the meek side, but it's okay. Yugi's still got the courage to stand up to bullies. He's still got a lot of confidence. But so, his days in the academy begin. And right out the gate, where is Yugi in the old grand scheme of the academy? Is he an obelisk blue? Is he a raw yellow? Or is he a slifer red? Here is the thing. And this is probably where the abuse of power as a teacher and being vindictive, like being Crawler being a vindictive bitch would be. Yugi's grades are probably good enough to a minimum get into raw yellow. And his dueling skill is an obelisk. Like, Jaden's skill is the top level, but his grades are terrible. Usually you can't be a obelisk blue the first year, unless you have, like, connections or something like that. Or you are just that impeccable. I don't know if Yugi is the top of the top to be an obelisk blue, but he certainly qualifies to be a raw yellow. But because Crawler's a prissy bitch, he makes it. I'm sorry, why were you filled up in raw yellow? You'll have to settle for being a slifer red, Yugi. Sorry. And so Yugi is wearing the slifer red outfit instead. But you know what? I think he'd be able to pull it off. And so it's Yugi's adventures in the duel school. Now we're only going to really be covering 3 other duels. We're going to be covering 4 duels, really, in this video. The second duel, now, there are a couple smaller duels that happen. His duel with Chaz, the first one, would have gotten interrupted. Yugi, should be known, Yugi's not as... It's weird to say, but Jaden is the Goku of Yugioh, where he doesn't care who you are, he just wants to duel you. It's like Goku's like, I don't care who you are, I just want to fight. Jaden is the Goku of Yugioh. Yugi is not that duel hungry. He loves the duel. It's fun. He enjoys it very much. But he is not that duel hungry. So I actually imagine some duels might not happen. I don't see the duel with Chaz the first time around happening. I also am not sure if I would see the Alexis duel happening. But given the fact that Cyrus kind of caused that mess. Him and Crawler both caused that mess. I guess you could make the argument it's still going to happen. I think he probably beats her with Dark Magician or whatever, just figures out a way to wipe the field. Maybe even someone's like Dark Paladin or whatever. Then there's the next big one. And and he beats Chaz in that fight. The Titan fight. This is the next big plot relevant duel. Because at first, Titan is proven to be a fraud, but then gets actually possessed by the Shadow Realm. Or by dark shadow magic, and then gets defeated. But more importantly, he's going around toting his Millennium item. But that Millennium item is the Millennium Puzzle. It's like, you really want to duel me, Yugi, then you will have to face me. It's like, fine. And so the duel would begin. And his turn would start out the same. Titan would start out with playing, what was it? Archfiend, Infernal Queen Archfiend, I believe it was. There you go, Grandora. Oh, sorry, I wrote this down here, and it's terrible. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong fight here. Okay, Yugi versus Crowler, Yugi versus Titan. There we go. So there we go. So yeah, he summons the Queen Archfiend, and he also plays Pandemonium, which means you don't have to pay effects. And apparently, when I read it, I also said for the other player too, which in this case is what burned Titan hard in this fight. Because Yugi, when I did the randomizer for the deck stuff, like drew Graceful Charity, the card that allows you Dedication to Darkness, Dark Curtain, Dark Magician of Chaos, Gamma, and he drew another card which he discarded. Point being, he played Graceful Charity, got Buster Blader Gandora and Magical Valkyria, discarded Buster Blader and Gandora, played Dark Curtain, which because Pandemonium was on the field meant he didn't have to pay the life, got down Dark Magician, sacrificed it for the Magician of Chaos in his hand, and summoned Magician's Valkyria. All of which he did in one turn and wiped out. Didn't wipe out his life points, but he was able to get a free card back thanks to Magician of Black Chaos, and pretty much decimates Titan pretty quick. It's like and then he just finds out, like, for the record, there's only one Millennium Puzzle, and that would be mine. It's like, no, that's not. It's like, he's probably just some washed out card. That's not true. I could get my job back at the circus anytime I wished. So, yeah, he would beat Titan pretty squarely. This, though, leads us to a couple other minor duels that do happen. One of them would be the Chumley duel, which he would just be encouraging Chumley, a practice duel with Cyrus. But the real final, and later on with the Paradox duel. The Paradox brothers, I do want to say, I have to just really check something real quick. UFO-roid, because if UFO-roid just needs it doesn't need, what was it? Elemental Hero Tempest, UFO-roid, all right, and what was the fusion card for it? It was UFO-roid Fighter. Tell me it just needs a warrior-type monster, because that'd be sweet. 1 second. I meant to check prior. UFO-roid Fighter. Yep, and a warrior type. So, this is going to make this all the sweeter, folks. So let me just skip ahead to that real quick, because he's got Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning in here. So, basically, Yugi would end up summoning that to counteract Dark Guardian, using its effect to remove it from the battlefield. They're like, what? Then I play Power Bond on my UFO-roid and his Blackluster Soldier Envoy in the Beginning to create UFO-roid Fighter. And because its attack would be double the combined attack of both, that's kind of how that card rolls. That's why its attack is up 4,000 initially, because Tempest has 28, UFO-roid has 12. Instead, you would have a card that has about a little over 8,400. Not much, but still, they'd end up beating him and wiping him out. No, the fight that's interesting here, the last duel of this video, is Yugi versus Zane. I'm going to move Yugi, our good pal Yugi, Boogie Oogie Yugi over here. So, let's break this duel down, because this is an interesting duel. So, Yugi would draw his hand. His hand consisted, in this case, of... Well, first off, Yugi challenged him. Partly because he wanted to face him, because it's like, you're supposed to be the best. This is your brother. You think you can talk that way to him? Like he's more worthless than anything else. He's like, look, bro, I'm going to show you you're wrong. Like, let's do it right now. Yugi's standing up for him. And it's like, you, a Slifer Red, want to challenge me? Sure, I haven't slumped it in a while. Why not? It's like, Yugioh! It's like, very well, Zane. I'm going to show you that even a Slifer Red can be an obelisk in the right circumstance. But you really think you really believe that, don't you? Fine, I'll let you go first. Very well, then. Yugi draws his cards. Yugi's opening hand consists of Draw of Fate, which, if you don't know Draw of Fate real quick, it's a spell card. You can only play it when your opponent controls a monster with the highest attack, and you have lower life points. You can choose 3 cards in your deck, put them in your top of your deck in any order, randomly, and then you draw 1 card. You're not allowed to set a card either for the rest of the turn. So it's Draw of Fate he draws, Witch of the Black Forest, Soul Taker, a spell card that destroys a creature on your opponent's side of the field, but they gain 1,000 life points, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, Black Illusion, and... oh, crap, what was the last card? The Tricky. That was right, the Tricky. So, Yugi gets to go first. I saw him, my Witch of the Black Forest in defense mode. Then I'm going to discard 1 card, discarding, Black Illusion, Curtain of Black Illusion. Discarding that. I don't think it was Curtain of Black Illusion. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it wasn't that. He discards that and summons the Tricky. He wants to definitely keep Soul Taker for a destruction effect and Black Luster. Draw of Fate is basically a card that could be good in the long game. And so he's got a 2,000 attack monster in the field and Blitz the Black Forest. Great, awesome, wonderful. Zane goes. Special summons his Cyber Dragon. What? Since you control a monster and I don't, I'm allowed to special summon it for free. Then I'll activate my different dimension capsule. Now attack that Tricky. And blows up the Tricky. It's the one in the attack mode. He loses 100 life points, Yugi. I'll set 1 card face down. His Mystical Space Typhoon. If you remember the duel, he did that to destroy Jaden's card initially, but Yugi didn't play a card this turn. So, there you go. So Yugi draws, and he draws Regulation of Tribe, an actually really good card in this circumstance, because again, you choose a type. It's a trap card. You choose a type, and that monster can't attack. But after standby phase, you got to sacrifice a monster for upkeep, which, seeing as he has Witch of the Black Forest, would actually be a really good combo. Sadly, Zane says nope, and basically just Mystical Space Typhoons that. And I say, all right, it's my turn. I draw. I'll play Polymerization. Fusing my 2/200, my 1 Cyber Dragon in my hand with a 1 on the field, creating Twin-Headed Cyber Dragon. And this monster has a special ability. It can attack twice in a turn. Ugh. And Yugi gets hit once. Gets hit, and then gets hit for the second time. Now, what does Yugi add with Witch of the Black Forest? Well, he doesn't have a lot of options at the moment to really do much. So, he basically just chooses Gazelle, the King of Mythical Beasts. Yugi's not in a good way. He's got a Dark type in the grave now, but he needs a Light type monster. And the few Light type monsters he couldn't pick up, because they don't have stats that would have complied with Witch of the Black Forest, and B, it just wouldn't be good to just draw them. So, Yugi draws. And basically, he draws Magician's... oh, sorry. Now these are cards I actually have here. Draws Magician's Valkyria. Then he plays Soul Taker, destroying the Twin-Headed Cyber Dragon and being able to attack him directly. Well, before he plays that, he still plays, though, Draw of Fate. And he plays Draw of Fate. Now, he chooses... it allows me to play... you have higher life points and the strongest attacking monster on the field, or strongest monster on the field. I'm allowed to pick 3 cards out of my deck and put them on the top of my hand. 3 cards from my deck and put them on the top of my deck in any order, in a random order. Then I'm allowed to draw 1, but I cannot set any cards for the rest of the turn. It's like, all right, I've got to do this, and I got to do this now. And it's a card of the cards, please guide me. Draws. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the draw is just yet, because that's going to play a factor in what the end game here is. And he looks at his hands like, I play Soul Taker, destroying your twin-headed Cyber Dragon. In exchange, though, you get 1,000 extra life points. Now attack Magician's Valkyria for 1,600. Keep in mind, Yugi's at 11, he's at 16. Well, he was at 4,000, now he's at 5,000, then he goes down to 34. Not bad. I end my turn. Now it's a light type monster. Even if he were to summon, say, a Cyber Dragon again, which he does have one in his hand, it wouldn't kill Yugi and he'd be able to get his Blackluster Soldier out. Unfortunately for Yugi, this is where Zane's endgame came into play, because he activates different dimension capsule. We also know he had Defusion. Now, granted, I don't believe you can summon a fusion monster back from the graveyard and then use Defusion and then do the components. I don't know if that works. I've never done that on Master Duel. Let me know if that works. For the sake of anime shenanigans, we can say that works. So basically, you play. It's like you are truly worthy of being called the best in this school, Zane. Thanks. You're good. You're good too, Yugi. It's like, what? Zane giving props? But you play your cards well. But unfortunately, this duel's over. My different dimension capsule has arrived. And I take my power bond. It's a power bond. Wait, that's Cyrus Scott. I then play Monster Reborn. Which allows me to bring back my twin-headed Cyber Dragon. Then I play Defusion, returning it back to the 2 base components in which he was created from. And finally activate my Power Bond. To create my twin-headed my Cyber End Dragon. And if he attacks a monster in defense mode, it deals piercing damage. With Power Bond's effect, it doubles the power. Now, before I continue, you may ask the question, why didn't he just attack with twin-headed Cyber Dragon? He would have, in theory, he would have won, because he wouldn't have needed to. But remember, Zane was also trying to prove a point. He was trying to prove a point too, and what better way to show him? It's how to use your card. So this is Zane not thinking things through and going, I mean, granted, it's still a kill move regardless, but yeah, it's like, this is over. You played well, Yugi. Attack! Twin! Cyber and Dragon! Cyber and Dragon attacks. It's over. And all of a sudden, the card in his hand was Karibo. It's like, what? It's like, it's not over yet, Zane. By discarding Karibo from my hand, I'm able to negate all battle damage and life point damage I would take for this battle. Even though it sacrifices my magician, I lose no life points this turn. Impossible. So the card you drew off of that's right, was Karibo. And tell him is. And because the battle's over, that means go into your main phase, and then your end phase. You have no cards left in your hand, Zane, or on the field, and you know what that means. The negative effects of Power Bond come back to bite you, come back and to haunt you. And Zane is actually, I mean, he's not like Kaiba's like, no, but he's like, unbelievable. And Zane's more like, actually kind of like got like a grin, like, he beat me. Unbelievable. And Zane's like, push out, like, and everyone's like, he beat Zane? He beat, holy, you beat him! It's like, no, you beat him! It's like, you truly are an amazing duelist, Zane. Zane, if I had not managed to draw Karibo off that draw, you would have had me. So yeah, it was quite. I mean, talk about a draw of fate indeed. You really are. And he just goes and gives Yugi a handshake. I look forward to seeing how your career, how your dueling career goes for me, Yugi, and to a rematch someday. I won't be holding back. Next time you were holding, to be honest, well, it's like to which Zane maybe actually points out, if you think about it, all I had to do was swing with twin-headed Cyber Dragon. But as you probably already figured out, this wasn't just simply a duel. This was about teaching Cyrus the proper way to use your cards. Had I just decided to swing with twin-headed Cyber Dragon, you would have been able to stop the full amount of damage with Karibo. Or you might have been able to stop the attack with Karibo, but you wouldn't have been able to stop the second attack. I suppose that's true. It's like, still. I look forward to our next match, Yugi. And as do I, Zane. And so they go off. Now, like I said, the Paradox Duel, the Twin Duel, would end pretty much with Blackluster Soldier and Boy at the beginning coming out, removing Dark Guardian, or Gate Guardian, whichever one. Which means you can't get the effect off of Dark Guardian, off of Gate Guardian then creating UFO Roid and just completely annihilating the Paradox Brothers. That is where we're going to end things, because I believe the next big duel would be, like, say, the school duel with West Academy. I think that'd be the next time we'd be talking about stuff. So until then, though, that's part one of What If Yugi was the lead of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And hey, there's Yugi one more time. So what'd you think? Do you like me doing it more this style, or did you like their previous style? I want some feedback to know how to maybe do it in the future. If figure out more ways to go about trying to improve the style in which the video is being told. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Later. And don't forget, get your game on. Come on, you better play cards.